Let's start with a question. And it's a question that I have always asked myself throughout my career. You know, as a writer, why? Why am I a writer? What good is a writer to society? You can also influence this idea of, let's think this through, let's see the other side, right? Let's understand this issue as very nuanced, you know, and not super oversimplified. You can influence your contemporaries, but at the same time, you can converse with history. You can leave something behind. So we can have some sort of influence, some sort of impact as writers. And this is why we do this. So we have a whole list of things that needs fixing. We said that writers have a role in society. So what are some of the skills then that we need to do if we want to be able to address some of these problems? So we need to be able to discern fake news, go to trusted sources of information, or even be able to participate in being those trusted sources of information. That's one thing, perhaps. And learning how to be persuasive is another thing. So it creates a whole list of skills that we have to learn how to do. Persuasion. Learning how to write in methods that persuade. Opinion pieces. Academia, for example. Academic papers. That's also very lasting. How to also write for social media. Right? How to use humor. Even how to make memes, for example. These are all some of the many tools we can start to learn how to do to be part of that conversation. Do we still believe that even with these tools, writing can change the world? And I ask myself that all the time still. Can it change the world? The other course that I teach at NYU Abu Dhabi is a course called Novels That Changed the World. And it looks at those very few novels, those works of fiction, that actually have had real social change. And The Nolly is one of the books on our curriculum. So we look at how other writers have actually changed things in their own way. Upton Sinclair, when he wrote The Jungle, which is about workers in Chicago working in the meatpacking industry. Terrible thing, terrible industry at the time, early 1900s. Workers were working in terribly inhuman conditions. But what happened is people read this and they saw, oh wow, the meatpacking industry is dirty and the meat is contaminated. And the change that came out of this book wasn't that workers were suddenly given more rights. It was that the Food and Drug Administration was put together by Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, and food standards were implemented. And so Upton Sinclair famously said, I tried to hit readers in the heart, but I got them in the stomach. There was change, but it was unintended change. But the point is that it is possible for fiction to actually change things. But what I find really fascinating and hopeful is that words are democratic. They're available to everyone. We all have them. I think that's a really great thing, that we are all empowered with it. The problem, I think, is that not everybody has the ability to share them as widely. Those voices are often not as powerful as the other ones. That's the problem. So the question I have is, how do we make it so that every voice is more equal, so that we are more heard? I did some pieces in some of the slum areas of Manila during the first months of the drug war. You know, everybody wanted to tell their story. And it struck me because it's like, okay, well, I'm writing an opinion piece for the New York Times. I don't know how far this is going to go, but the fact of the matter is that they weren't afraid. They wanted their story heard. I saw in what they were doing as this really hopeful gesture of, we don't have a voice. You, Onyo kid from Makati, you seem to have a voice. We're going to tell you our story. Maybe you can help us have it heard. I'd like to think that by being able to look beyond my own background and start to listen to people and start to talk to people and say, hey, look, I want to help. Tell me how I can help you. I'd like to think that that's my investment. And I think each and every one of you have those opportunities to do that in your own way as well, using the skills that you have. And so that's to me what citizen, writer is. Using writing to be a better citizen and using citizenship to be a more purposeful effective, less selfish, and honestly better writer.